Good afternoon. It is February 4th, 2022, and today, here's what we're looking at. Originally, when we came in this morning, these were the overnight lows, but I do believe these were this is what prices were playing off of for the rest of the day. You can see there might be a little double bottom here, but you can see the midline works here. All these touches. But let's take a look. It looks like if we move it to here, you have more touches on the lows. That midline doesn't look it doesn't look as nice as this one. So that's what I'm looking at. We had two measured legs right here before this congestive area, and I'll get into all that mess. But yeah, we came back, tested these overnight highs, went a little further. This move in the overnight made it have a downward bias in the morning. I'm trying to think of what gave me the clue that we were going higher. When this one made a higher low than this one, and then we started rallying. This rally really felt strong. And this one looks good too, and it looks like we probably got two measured legs up, but we just caught some resistance at that midline. So it was just a matter of breaking through that midline. You can see it again. We tested a couple times, and I guess that's a sign that we're going higher, because they can't hit these lows again here, and they've already tested this midline once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. So all those sellers maybe are gone, and that's when we get that measured leg up. So I really felt pretty happy with my screen time today, so I'll try not to blabber on, but I feel like I was understanding the price action very well. So I have my overnight lows drawn up here. To start off, you can see we have this leg of correction, and then we break that leg of correction, and you get a first entry, failed second entry, long. And after a big move down like that, I just feel like even though this doesn't set up too well, it's off the short-term trend channel, and I think if you're reading this right, you're not going for a long right here. So unfortunately, we don't have Mack to see if he says something like that here, but that's how I read it. And there was actually a news item at 5:30 too, so you probably would want to be careful and stay out of that anyway. That's what dropped the prices right here. But the price action doesn't lie. So if you were reading that right, that's a failure. We get a break of that channel, maybe a slight overshoot down here. This looks pretty congestive. We come down, make a new low from this channel down, and then we reverse. We get this yellow channel. Looks like a failure right here, but that's kind of just too far from the EMA, and with a downward bias, you're not trying to go long on something like that. And then we correct from that channel, and you can see this is a lower high than here. We've been flip-flopping for a little bit, so there is reason to believe that we're going low. And first entry, failed second entry, long. So I think the reason I did mark that is because we're not too sure what prices are doing, and we did just make a new low. So after the break of this overnight trend, so maybe we're due for a reversal, but that looks good to me. We get an overshoot of that and bounce, and then we bounce on this trend channel. But I think that's too congested to take anything. First entry, failed second entry, again too far from the EMA. Touch off this midline, and then we start correcting and we break. And I think if you're reading this right, this is probably an advanced trade, but this looks like a nice failure. You can see there is support here, and there is a channel up, but the bias is down. We just tested that midline again and couldn't get through. So I do like this in hindsight. I don't think it's hard to say what I would have done in real time. And then we come down here, and I like this failed second entry short setup. We bounce off the opening price, first entry, second entry, sets up above the EMA, and you can see, I mean, there's reasons to even take this second entry short. Signal bar isn't great, but there's reasons to take it. But we did have this channel up, so you also should be expecting a move to a new high, which is what we get. And so I'd like to set up that failed second entry short. And this does kind of look like a little level of support down here. Now, here we have like a bearish signal bar off of like another test of this midline. So it's a second entry short, but I just, at this point, I would just probably think I don't know what's happening. So I don't think I can take something like that. Looks pretty congestive too. Then we come out, and that's probably, yeah, it's probably a range. We hit the lows, and then we bounce up. Counter trend breakout. Well, I shouldn't say counter trend because we did trend up into this range, but the bias still fell down. But we do make yet another high, a new high. So we get a first entry and fail second entry long, and like I said, for a trade over here, I think if you're reading this right, you can take this. Prices are having a really hard time pushing through that midline. And this is, only problem is we're coming off a new high, and that's a really strong leg up. So that's why I'd be too nervous to take that. Because, you know, you might be getting another leg up like that. That's how I felt. And then it rockets down. I guess all the trap traders exit here. Test that opening price once again. You get that really bullish signal bar. So look how far that is from the EMA. You might consider that. But anyway, we get a first entry, second entry short. You know, if you kind of look at all this as the top, you could look at it as it kind of looks like a first failed second entry long too. But I don't know. That's too far from the EMA. I want to be more conservative with it. Here we get a first second entry. It doesn't really set up. It's kind of a hidden second. It kind of looks like it's a hidden second entry anyway, even though it ticks lower here. This is just the third entry, but here we have this level of a range area that we broke down into. We break out with trend, but it snaps right back. And I don't think you should enter on any of this, but this kind of looks like a lower high, and we didn't quite make it to the lows, but that's risky. I looked at it because it kind of looks like a second entry short, even though this is the second entry. It kind of looks like a first entry, second entry. But look, we just reverse out of there. And then we form this range here, and if you draw the measured move, of course, that becomes a significant price level. I don't really see anything in here. I like this in real time a lot, but we just made this leg up, and I'm just not too sure about that. I think I should at least mark that, but it's counter trend. So we come down, we hit the EMA in the midline and bounce, and then come back down and test it again and test it yet again. And this kind of looks like, so the second entry doesn't set up well. And then we get a third entry that definitely doesn't set up well. But this looks like a trap to me. And even though you're not supposed to take failures in congestion, this looks more like a range. It looks like congestion over here, and really it's just a range. So we haven't gone to the highs. We broke up into this. I really like that as a trap. I don't know what else to say. That just, if you're reading it well, that felt really good. You know, to test these highs. I don't know what anyone else would say about that. you can see it's like a double test of that price level, and really you could argue this was the first time the price level was started, so it's a first double, triple test. So I like that in real time, but I'm not going to mark it because I'm not sure it fits our criteria. But that's just some things you just cannot see unless you're getting screen time. And I was getting nice screen time today. So this move up, I don't think you would have been able to see the channel that way until after. I think this is correct. I don't see any setups on this. You get this second entry long. Doesn't set up great. But we are expecting a new high. That's what we get. First entry failed, second entry. It just looks congestive at this point. What am I measuring here? I could have swore I was measuring. I think these measured moves might have gotten messed up. Yeah, they did. So, did I rearrange this? Well, I'm not too sure what I had these on for. Huh. Maybe, oh, okay, I think this... I'm not too sure. Anyway. This is the second entry again. But look, the signal bar isn't great. So, and then here, I took this on the practice, my practice account, and I had the really correct thinking here, and that's why I made these notes. You know, I was like looking at it, and I was like, I have a feeling this is one of them ones that Mack would be like, you got to drop a limit order back here. Because look, I'm just coming in late. We had a break. We had to move to a new high already. It's just these setups aren't great. The signal bars aren't great. This is looking congestive, but it does look like a first failed second entry short and kind of like a first second entry long. But look at all these inside bars, and you're all inside this. I think I didn't notice that. So I could feel something was up, so I switched to my practice account. But you're going into the highs, and if you're going to enter something like this, you want to enter on a limit order. And as a matter of fact, I entered, I had my order a tick above this bar, as if it were to go for an engulfing bar. And really all that happened was that this signal bar over here moved so quickly that I got triggered before I could move it down. And you see my entry price at $11.75, and you get 4 ticks. So if you were just patient and tried to get in here, you wouldn't have gotten in. But you know, if you entered on a limit order, you would have gotten filled. You would have hit your target and been out. So things to keep in mind. Those are things, you know, professional traders definitely keep in mind. You can say here we have a matching high and what looks like a first entry failed second entry long. Technically it's not, but you can see 2 measured legs of correction there. It goes a little bit further here, traps people, but this is looking like a range, and you're going into strong support. So I took that on my practice account. You should not take something like that. And then here, this looks like a counter trend breakout. So if you're going to be aggressive, that looks like a first entry, second entry. And then you get a first failed second entry short right here that sets up well. And this isn't looking like congestive right now. This is looking like price rejection. First entry, second entry. Here, this just looks like a short trap. I don't know how else to explain it. You got this first entry, second entry, so it's failing, and all these shorts are loading on, but they can't push it lower here, and it bounces off this midline, makes a higher low above the EMA, and just rockets up. And you can see we went beyond the 2 measured legs. And you know, honestly, by the time we hit this range up here, we felt pretty confident. I'm sure other people were watching this. It felt like we're definitely testing these highs. You know, this was a really strong rally. But anyway, we get this leg of correction, and you just don't get a setup for a failure. You would want to be careful here anyway. This looks like you might take this one as second entry long, but it kind of looks like it's going into a midline of a range. But we're just not sure about that. And it looks like we're not. It's not too much of price acceptance. There's some over here, so you might think about that. And now we're just going lower. So that's what I saw for today. I forget which trade I took on. Yeah, okay. That's the trap I was talking about. So, okay, they hit my stop here, unfortunately. This just felt like a trap, and that's what I took. And yeah, and look at that. I had a conservative, pretty conservative. I think I might have walked away. A pretty conservative target. I should have had it up here and just taken profit, but I started dreaming and stuff. So I got a 3-point runner. But yeah, that was, I was hoping for another leg up. That's what we got. Just a little. I got stopped out. So yeah, hope everyone had a good day. Hope that video was informational, and have a great weekend.